everybody. It's me, Steve Schnee, and you are watching the Junkie Diaries. This is when I just talk about a particular band and how they changed the way that I listen to music, changed the course of my life, made me sit in a room at the age of 61 and just listen to CDs all day long. I'm going to start off with the Beatles, and of course, they changed everybody's life. They changed the course of musical history. They did. We began, my brother Mike and I, we began by listening to the American albums. Of course, Meet the Beatles, and so many classics, even with that sort of echo that, what was his name, Dave Dexter or what, added to them. I still think it's fresh, exciting, and, it's just a great way to listen to the Beatles because it sounds raw. It sounds more raw than the UK counterparts, although I love those, and I will just show those briefly in a little bit. Beatles' second album, knock, knock, who's there? The frickin' Beatles. That's a great collection. Something New had some great stuff on it. Some of my favorite Beatles songs, actually. Things We Said Today, and of course, And I Love Her, If I Fell. This had a couple songs from the Hard Day's Night soundtrack, because the Hard Day's Night soundtrack was not released in the U.S. on Capitol. It was released on United Artists. So they were able to use a couple songs from that picture, as they called it back in the day, and mixed it with some spare tracks from the UK albums that had not been released in the US. Sort of a hodgepodge, but still a very good hodgepodge. This is one that I'm not always a fan of, but it has some of my favorite songs. This has No Reply, which is one of my favorite Beatles songs. Of All the Sun's great. But it has Mr. Moonlight. Oh, but it has I'll Be Back. Oh my God. What an amazing song that is. Mono stereo, like the other ones that I've showed you. And of course, the Beatles, the early Beatles, because if you listen to Paul, I think he does a lot of shh in his songs back in these days. And it sounded like John Lennon had a cold. I think this is the stuff that was recorded for Please Please Me, and I think it was all like recorded in like 12 hours or whatever. Beatles 6, another fine album. I listened to this one a lot. Bad Boy, I don't need to listen to that one anymore. Yes, it is. I'm not a big fan. Just like Babies in Black, not a big fan of that either. Dizzy Miss Lizzy, never want to hear it again. Yeah, but it's a solid album. I thought 8 Days a Week was on. Yeah, 8 Days a Week. One of my favorite Beatles songs. That right there is Power Pop Supremo. I really like this version of Help with all the incidental music. I guess this isn't a gatefold like the album, but yeah, I like this a lot. And also, when you think about Help, You're Gonna Lose That Girl is one of my favorite songs by the Beatles. I Need You by George Harrison is one of my favorite Beatles songs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and I do like the incidental music. I do. Lots of great stuff on that. Rubber Soul, I prefer the American Rubber Soul. Really folky sounding. And as stupid as the false start is on was it I've Just Seen a Face? It's kind of really dumb, but it's awesome too at the same time. But yeah, I really like that. But that's all that I've got in terms of the American albums. This, of course, is the first UK album, Please Please Me. Solid. Like I said, I think this was recorded like in 12 hours or 18 hours or something in one day. And of course, this is Paul on the shh. So this is by the Beatles. Send her back to me. But it could be John doing that too. He had a cold. With the Beatles, another solid collection. I like Meet the Beatles more. But maybe I like this. No, I like them both equally. This is just stupendous. I prefer the UK version of Hard Day's Night. But I'm always reminded that I used to have a bootleg album of the Beatles at Hollywood Bowl. And it listed Beatles at Hollywood Bowl 64. And it listed a song called Falling in Love. And I'm going, oh my God, it's a Beatles song I never heard of. I was going to buy the album anyway, but that was like, oh my God, it cost like a whole $3. And I took it home and I found what track Falling in Love was. I put it down. Then I heard, If I Fell in Love with You. I go, fuck. No, but this is fantastic. Sorry, I'm going off in many different directions, but look at, I mean, this has the songs from the film, plus it has Things We Said Today and I'll Be Back, two of my absolute favorite Beatles songs ever in the entire world. Knock, knock, who's there? The Beatles. And then we've got Beatles for Sale opens with No Reply, which doesn't Beatles on 45 or Stars on 45 Beatles medley open with that too. This happened once before. I think that was my Bob Seger impression. Let me see here. I've never really liked the song I'm a Loser. It cuts too close to home. Babes in Black. Mr. Moonlight. Yeah, that's a fun one. This is one of my absolute favorite Beatle albums here. Not only do you get all the songs from the movie, but you also get, oh God, you get Act Naturally, whatever. But you get It's Only Love, which I love. But you get Dizzy Miss Lizzie. But you get Yesterday. And I'll tell you, step back. Whenever you get tired of a song, whether it's Every Breath You Take by the Police or Yesterday by the Beatles or Hotel California by Eagles, step back from it. Turn it off. Shut it off. Stop listening to it. Walk away from it for 6 months, a year. Go back to it. And it's going to hit you again. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yesterday, I was so tired of it. And then just one day, I almost cried. It was so wonderful. It was so beautiful. Rubber Soul. This is the UK one. Still a great album, but less of that sort of folky album that the American one was. But you got to drive my car. You want? Yeah. This is really solid. The Word. What goes on? But In My Life is so beautiful. So absolutely beautiful. Run for Your Life. Whatever. Revolver, solid. Now, the American one was shorter, had fewer songs because they had put some songs on Yesterday and Today, but this is pretty much solid. I mean, I guess I can do without, let me see, no, I think everything here, no, yeah, everything here is great. Okay, yeah, okay. And this, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and listen to this again because this used to be my favorite Beatles album. From the early 70s until I think Lennon died. Because I stopped listening to the Beatles when Lennon died for quite a few years. In fact, I didn't even buy any CDs when they started coming out until the remasters in 2009, of which I have a 2 CD sampler, which is, I don't think it's worth anything. But then I started thinking, well, it's not that great because it has Within You, Without You. So that kind of kills the flow. I guess you can skip that when you, but on CD. But then I start hearing songs individually. I go, no, I need to go back because I had hyped the album so much in my head and listened to it so many times. Remember just a few minutes ago, I say step away and then come back. It's time for me to come back and give that a re-listen. But I still love Magical Mystery Tour. I've always loved Magical Mystery Tour more than Sgt. Pepper. Because not only do I love the songs from the stinky film Magical Mystery Tour, but I also like all the stuff they added, such as Hello, Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, Baby, You're a Rich Man, and All You Need Is Love. Whenever I hear the song All You Need Is Love, I'm reminded of when my brother and I used to sit and listen to the Beatles and read magazine articles on the assassination of JFK that my parents had saved. You know, old newspaper articles, magazines, things like that. Flip through the Life magazine that had the picture of the assassination or the photos from the assassination, you know, with a really musty old paper and stuff. Yeah. But it's a good feeling. It's not like I go, oh, God, it's all musty. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, I don't have the White Album with me on baby CD. I have the big box set. Daddy CD. And I've never really loved the White Album. To me, it sounds like 4 guys making their own music, and then they kind of threw them together and said, hey, Ringo, can you come here? Oh, I'm making Don't Pass Me By. It's like, no, Ringo, you don't need to make Don't Pass Me By. You know, and Ringo's just giving him dirty looks while, you know, beating the dreams to Don't Pass Me By. I think all of us probably were saying, Ringo, don't Pass Me By. But I I love the album now. In fact, my friend Doug gave me the box sets of, all the Beatle things that have been released already. And I'm so thankful and grateful for him doing that. And I do have the 2 CD version somewhere, the 2 CD remix, but I can't seem to find it. I can't seem to find a lot of my stuff nowadays. I think Ringo's been stealing my CDs. I don't have Yellow Submarine, but I do have Yellow Submarine's song track, which has all the songs from the film, as opposed to the orchestral music, and they're all remixed. So this is like the first time you're getting Beatles remix, and I don't think it's done by Giles Martin. I think these remixes are done by Lemmy from Motorhead. That's a lie, but what the heck. But I love this. I really, really, honestly do. And then Abbey Road. Oh, Mama, I love you. This is a truly wonderful album, but my takes on things is not really popular. I'm not a big fan of Come Together. Not a big fan of I Want You, She's So Heavy. But my favorite Beatles song, and my favorite song of all time, is Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, The End. I consider that one song because they're all linked together sonically and on record. You could put the needle down or, click to Golden Slumbers and it'll play all the way through until the end. And that right there, I think, is probably the greatest 5 minutes of music ever recorded, apart from My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. No, that's me being sarcastic. Although I don't dislike that song. I have a recording of my daughter singing that song when she was 48. No, when she was 8, something like that. But yeah, Abbey Road is fantastic. Let It Be, Beatles. Oh, it's not very good actually as a whole album. But the song Let It Be is one of my favorite songs of all time. Long and Winding Road, which everybody seems to hate, is one of my favorite songs of all time. Some great stuff on here. But then you've also got For You Blue, which is right up there with Don't Pass Me By, even though that's a George song. No, For You Blue I think is okay. It's really Old Brown Shoe. And of course, then that was it. That was Bye Bye, Bye Bye. The Beatles went away. But then again, here it is. How many years ago? That was 1970. The Beatles split up. See, it's weird though. Before I continue that, I was alive when all this stuff was happening. And it's so weird to think that I was alive before Let It Be was written. I was alive before and when Long and Winding Road was written. These are some of the greatest songs ever recorded. Ever in the entire world. In the entire universe, actually. So it's fascinating. Then, of course, the Past Masters with all the A-sides, B-sides, and stuff like that. That weren't on albums. I remember, the song From Me to You. First time I got to hear that was the Chipmunks version because it hadn't been released in the U.S. at that time. But we knew about it because of, Alvin, Simon, and Theodore and David Seville singing From Me to You. Then you've got Thank You Girl, She Loves You, I'll Get You, I'm Gonna Hold Your Hand, This Boy. Can give me okay. Long Tall Sally. Let me see. Yes, It Is. I Can Do Without Bad Boy. Day Tripper, never been a big fan of, but We Can Work It Out. One of my favorites. Paperback Red. Inner Light. Let me see here. Hey Jude, Revolution, of course. Get Back. Don't Let Me Down. I'll tell you, you throw that song on, and my mind, it just works in overtime because it tries to hear every note and everything that's going on. I love that song so much. It's just everything is perfect about that song. Ballad of John and Yoko is the, if I had a pen, I'd scrape that off. Old Brown Shoe, didn't I already do that earlier? Yeah, I'm not going to do that again. Across the Universe, I think that's the version with the female vocalists. Let It Be, the other version with a different solo, and You Know My Name, Look Up the Number, which is a fun little goofy track that you'd find on a Bonzo Dog Doodah Band album. Then, of course, these two compilations, which are indispensable when we were youths. These are the remixes with more tracks. Let me address the whole remix thing, right? First off, I think that there are just travesties that the Beatles have released. Let It Be Naked. I mean, if these were the versions that got released on Let It Be, and then they were stripped down, then that would make sense with Let It Be Naked. Not a big fan of that. I'm okay with the Beatles' Love, and I'm really okay with all those box sets and remixes that have been coming, only because you still have all the originals. All you got to do is say, you know what, I don't like that remix, and then you go listen to the original. Oh my goodness, that was hard. That was difficult, wasn't it? Instead of making negative videos all day long on the friggin' internet, just don't listen to it. Don't buy it. Buy Celine Dion. Buy Lemmy. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell for future notifications. I love the Beatles. They're my favorite band of all time. And if I was disrespectful,